The sky above Seoul turned dark at exactly 3 in the afternoon. It was not clouds. It was not an eclipse. It was something that no human had ever seen before. Yuna was walking home from her office when she heard the screaming. She looked up and saw a massive ship floating in the sky. It was bigger than any building she had ever seen. It blocked the sun completely. The ship was black and covered with strange lights that blinked in patterns she could not understand. She stopped walking. Everyone on the street stopped walking. Cars stopped moving. The whole city became silent. 8 billion people across the world looked up at the same time. Ships appeared over every major city. New York, Tokyo, London, Mumbai, Cairo. The aliens had arrived. Yuna was not an important person. She worked as a translator for the government. She spoke 5 languages. She was good at her job, but she never expected her job to matter this much. Her phone rang. It was her supervisor. "Come to the Blue House immediately," he said. "They need translators." "Translators for what?" she asked. "For them," he said. "They're trying to talk to us." Yuna ran. She had never run so fast in her life. When she arrived at the government building, soldiers were everywhere. Scientists were everywhere. Important people in suits were everywhere. And in the middle of it all, there was a screen showing something that was not human. The creature on the screen was tall. Very tall. It had gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were completely black, like deep holes in its face. It wore armor that looked like metal and bone mixed together. When it spoke, its voice was deep and strange. "We are the Velok Empire," it said. "We have watched your planet for many cycles. We have seen your weapons. We have seen your warriors. We demand that you give us your enhanced soldiers. Give us the ones you have improved. Give us your upgraded humans." The room became very quiet. Yuna looked at the generals. The generals looked at the scientists. The scientists looked at each other. Nobody understood what the alien was talking about. An old general named Sung stepped forward. He had white hair and a face full of wrinkles. He had fought in wars. He had seen many things, but he had never seen anything like this. "What do you mean by upgraded humans?" he asked. The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Do not play games with us. We have watched your broadcasts. We have seen humans run faster than any creature should run. We have seen humans lift objects that weigh more than their own bodies many times over. We have seen humans survive wounds that would kill any other species. We have seen humans fight without stopping for days. We know you have created super soldiers. We want them." Yuna translated his words carefully. She made sure everyone understood. And when they understood, something strange happened. People started to laugh. Not loud laughter. Nervous laughter. Confused laughter. The kind of laughter that comes when something is so wrong that you do not know how to react. General Sung raised his hand to quiet everyone. He turned back to the screen. "I think there has been a mistake," he said slowly. "We do not have upgraded humans. We do not have super soldiers. The people you saw in our broadcasts, those are just regular humans." The alien's black eyes seemed to grow wider. "That is not possible. No species can do what your kind does without modification. We have studied thousands of worlds. We have never seen anything like humans. Your endurance is impossible. Your strength is impossible. Your ability to heal is impossible. Your determination is impossible." "And yet," General Sung said, "it is true. Every human you have seen is a normal human. We have 8 billion of them." The alien was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke again, and this time its voice was different. There was something in it that had not been there before. Something that sounded almost like fear. You are telling me that every human on your planet can do these things? Yes, General Sung said. More or less. All 8 billion? All 8 billion. The transmission ended suddenly. The screen went black. For a moment, everyone in the room just stood there, not knowing what to do. YUNA walked to the window and looked up at the massive ship still floating in the sky. She had always thought that if aliens came to Earth, humans would be the weak ones. She had always thought that humans would need to beg for mercy. She had always thought that the universe was full of creatures stronger and better than humans. But looking at the ship now, she wondered if she had been wrong. She wondered if the aliens were not here to conquer. She wondered if they were here because they were afraid. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her mother. Are you safe? Her mother asked. I think so, Yuna typed back. I think we all are. She did not know why she felt so sure. But she did. Something in the alien's voice had changed when it learned the truth about humans. Something had shifted. And Yuna had a feeling that this was only the beginning. In cities all over the world, people were looking up at the ships. They were scared. They were confused. But they were also standing together. Farmers and doctors and teachers and children. Old people and young people. Strong people and weak people. All of them were just regular humans. And somehow, that was enough to make an empire pause. General Sung turned to his staff. His face was serious, but there was a small smile hiding in the corner of his mouth. Get me everything we have on these Velok, he said. And someone find me more translators. I have a feeling we are going to be talking a lot. Yuna took a deep breath. She had come to work today expecting to translate business documents. Now, she was translating for humanity itself. The weight of it pressed down on her shoulders. But she was human. And humans, she was learning, could carry weights that would break other creatures. She straightened her back, pulled out her notebook, and got to work. The arrival had happened. Whatever came next, humanity would face it together. All 8 billion of them. 3 days passed after the first contact. The alien ships did not attack. They did not leave. They just floated there, watching, waiting. Commander Day was a military man. He had served his country for 30 years. He had trained soldiers. He had planned battles. He had never planned for this. No one had. He stood in a large room deep underground. This was where the world's leaders had decided to meet with the aliens face to face. Or rather, face to screen. The Velok had agreed to talk more, but they would not come down to Earth. Not yet. The main screen flickered to life. The same alien commander appeared. His name, they had learned, was Fleet Master Torvak. He had 4 arms, gray skin, and eyes like black stones. He looked at the humans with what might have been curiosity or hunger. It was hard to tell. We have reviewed your claim, Torvak said. You say you have no enhanced soldiers. We do not believe you. Show us proof. Commander Day nodded. He had prepared for this. We will show you everything, he said. We will show you what humans are. He pressed a button, and a video began to play on the screen. It showed a marathon race. Thousands of humans running together through city streets. They ran for hours. They ran until their legs screamed and their lungs burned. And then they kept running. These are not soldiers, Day explained. These are regular people. Office workers, students, elderly men and women. They run for fun. They run for charity. They run because they want to see how far they can push themselves. Torvik leaned forward. His forearms crossed over his chest. How far do they run? He asked. 42 kilometers, Day said. Some run even farther. We have races that go for 100 kilometers. We have races that go for days without stopping. Days? Torvik repeated. Without rest? Without significant rest, Yes. They eat and drink while moving. They sleep in short bursts. And they keep going. The alien said nothing for a long moment. Then the video changed. Now it showed firefighters. A building was on fire. The flames were massive. The heat was so intense that the camera lens was starting to blur. And into that fire walked humans. They wore protective suits, but the suits were not perfect. The heat still got through. The smoke still got through. And still they walked forward. These are firefighters, they said. They enter burning buildings to save strangers. They do this knowing they might die. They do this anyway. Why? Torvik asked. Why would they risk death for strangers? They thought about this question. It was a simple question, but the answer was complicated. Or maybe it was very simple. Because that is what humans do, he said. We help each other. Even when it hurts. Even when it kills us. The video changed again. This time, it showed a news report from several years ago. A car had flipped over. A child was trapped underneath. A woman, just a regular woman walking by, had seen the accident. She had run to the car. And she had lifted it. This woman weighs about 60 kilograms, they said. The car weighs about 2,000 kilograms. She should not have been able to lift it. But she did. We call this hysterical strength. When humans are desperate, when someone we love is in danger, our bodies can do things that should be impossible. Torvak's black eyes were wide now. His forearms had uncrossed. He was gripping the edges of his command chair. This is common? He asked. Common enough, they said. There are hundreds of documented cases. Mothers lifting cars off their children. Fathers breaking through walls to reach their families. Regular people becoming something more in moments of crisis. The video changed once more. Now it showed soldiers. Not Korean soldiers specifically, but soldiers from all over the world. The footage showed them training. It showed them fighting. It showed them getting wounded, and it showed them getting back up. A soldier was shot in the leg. He wrapped it with a bandage and kept fighting. Another soldier was hit by an explosion. She crawled to cover and kept firing her weapon. A third soldier was wounded so badly that he should have died. He lived for another 6 hours, protecting his friends until rescue arrived. Your warriors, Torvik said slowly. They do not stop. No, they agreed. They do not. Even when they are dying? Especially when they are dying. When a human knows death is coming, they often become more dangerous, not less. They have nothing left to lose. They fight with everything they have. Torvik sat back in his chair. For the first time since the conversations began, he looked uncertain. He looked almost small. In our empire, he said, soldiers are bred for war. They are modified, enhanced, given drugs to increase strength and remove fear. Even our best warriors would stop fighting after such wounds. The pain would be too much. The body would shut down. Human bodies shut down too, they said. But human minds do not always listen to their bodies. There was a long silence. Torvik whispered something to another alien off-screen. Then he turned back to the humans. Show me more, he demanded. Show me everything. So they showed him everything. He showed him boxers who fought for 12 rounds with broken hands. He showed him climbers who reached the top of the highest mountains with frozen fingers and missing toes. He showed him swimmers who crossed entire oceans. He showed him survivors of disasters who lived for weeks without food or water. He showed him the old woman in Japan who survived the atomic bomb and lived to be 90. He showed him the man who fell from an airplane without a parachute and survived. He showed him the child who was lost in the wilderness for 10 days and walked out alive. With each video, Torvik grew quieter. His officers grew quieter. The whole alien ship seemed to grow quieter. Finally, they stopped the videos. He looked directly at the screen. "You came here looking for super soldiers," he said. "You thought we had created them in laboratories. You thought we had modified our people to be stronger and faster and harder to kill." "Yes," Torvak admitted. "You were wrong," they said. "We did not create anything. This is just what humans are. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every single day. We survived ice ages and famines and plagues and wars. We are not modified. We are not enhanced. We are just stubborn." Torvak was silent for a very long time. "How many of you are there?" he finally asked. 8 billion, they said. "Give or take, and they are all like this. Some are stronger. Some are weaker. But yes, they are all human. They all have this potential inside them." Torvak ended the transmission without another word. Commander Day turned to his staff. Una was there, still translating, still taking notes. Her hands were shaking slightly. "What happens now?" she asked. Day looked up at the ceiling, as if he could see through it to the ships above. "Now," he said, "we wait. And we hope that showing them the truth was the right decision." He had shown the aliens what humans were capable of. He had shown them the strength and the madness and the beautiful stubbornness of his species. He just hoped it would not make things worse. But deep down, in a place he did not like to examine too closely, Commander Day was proud. He was proud of his species. He was proud of the crazy, impossible, wonderful things that humans did every single day without even thinking about it. If the aliens wanted a fight, they would get one. All 8 billion humans would make sure of that. The message came on the 7th day. The Velok wanted proof. Real proof. They wanted to test a human themselves. Hana was not a soldier. She was not a scientist. She was not anyone special. She was a schoolteacher from Bazan who taught mathematics to children aged 10 and 11. She was 34 years old. She liked to read books and grow flowers in her small apartment. She had never done anything brave in her life. When the government asked for volunteers, she raised her hand. "Why?" Her sister Gina asked her. "Why would you do this? It could be dangerous. They could kill you." Hannah thought about the question. She thought about her students. She thought about all the children in the world who were looking up at those ships and feeling afraid. "Someone has to go," she said simply. "Someone has to show them what we are. Why not me?" Gina cried. Their mother cried. But Hannah did not cry. She packed a small bag with a change of clothes and a photo of her family. Then she went to Seoul. The aliens agreed to conduct the tests on neutral ground. They chose a small island in the Pacific Ocean where no one lived. The world's scientists would watch through cameras. The world's leaders would watch through screens. 8 billion people would hold their breath and wait. Hannah arrived on the island by helicopter. She was wearing simple clothes. A t-shirt, pants, running shoes. She carried nothing else. A beam of light came down from the alien ship. In that light stood 3 Velok. They were tall, much taller than her. Their gray skin looked like stone in the sunlight. Their black eyes watched her without blinking. The leader stepped forward. It was not Torvak. This one was different. Smaller. More careful in its movements. "I am Medical Officer Varn," the alien said. "I will conduct the tests. Do you consent to this?" Hannah nodded. "I consent. You understand that some tests may cause pain." "I understand. You understand that we will push your body to its limits?" Hannah smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "I am a teacher," she said. "I deal with 30 children every day. I know about limits." The alien did not seem to understand the joke. It simply turned and gestured for her to follow. They took her to a small building that the aliens had constructed overnight. Inside were machines and tools that Hannah did not recognize. Some looked medical. Some looked like torture devices. She tried not to think about that. The first test was temperature. They put Hannah in a chamber and slowly raised the heat. The walls began to glow red. Sweat poured from her body. Her skin felt like it was burning. But she stood there. She breathed slowly. She thought about cool water and mountain breezes. Most species lose consciousness at this temperature, Varn noted. Their bodies shut down to protect themselves. Humans do that too, Hannah said through gritted teeth. We just take longer. They raised the temperature more and more. Hannah felt dizzy. She felt sick. Her vision started to blur. But she did not fall. Finally, they stopped the test. Her body temperature had risen to levels that would have killed a Valak warrior. She had survived. Remarkable, Varn said. Truly remarkable. The second test was cold. They put her in a different chamber and dropped the temperature until her breath came out in clouds of ice. Her fingers turned white. Her lips turned blue. She shivered so hard that her teeth chattered, but she did not stop moving. She paced back and forth. She rubbed her arms. She stomped her feet. She kept her blood flowing through movement and will. Your species evolved in warm climates, Varn observed. You should not be able to survive this. We spread, Hannah said, her voice shaking from the cold. We went everywhere. Hot places, cold places, wet places, dry places. We adapted. We survived. Through technology? Sometimes. Sometimes just through stubbornness. The cold test lasted 2 hours. Hannah's body temperature dropped dangerously low. She was on the edge of hypothermia. But she walked out of that chamber on her own 2 feet. The third test was pain. They attached sensors to her body and applied electrical shocks. Small ones at first, then bigger ones. The pain was incredible. It felt like fire running through her nerves. It felt like being torn apart from the inside. Hannah screamed. She was not ashamed to scream. Anyone would scream, but she did not ask them to stop. She did not beg for mercy. She took the pain and she held it, and she kept going. Your pain receptors are extremely sensitive, Varn said. More sensitive than most species we have studied. You feel pain more intensely than we do. I know, Hannah gasped. Then why do you not surrender? Why do you not ask us to stop? Hannah looked at the alien with red, tear-filled eyes. Her body was shaking. Her hands were clenched into fists. But her voice was steady when she spoke. Because pain is just information, she said. It tells me something is wrong. It does not control me. I control myself. The alien stared at her for a long moment. Then it ended the test. The fourth test was endurance. They made her run on a machine. Not fast, but steady. Hour after hour. They gave her water when she asked for it. They gave her small amounts of food. But they did not let her stop. She ran for 18 hours. By the end, her legs were numb. Her lungs burned with every breath. Her mind was foggy and confused. But she kept moving. 1 foot in front of the other. 1 step at a time. Why do you not stop? Varn asked again. Because I can take 1 more step, Hannah said. As long as I can take 1 more step, I will not stop. That is not logical. No, she agreed. It is human. The 5th test was the hardest. It was not physical. It was mental. They showed her images. Horrible images. Images of destruction and death and suffering. They pumped chemicals into the air that made her feel sad and hopeless and afraid. They tried to break her mind the way they had tried to break her body. Hannah sat in that room and looked at those images. She felt the sadness wash over her. She felt the despair. She felt the fear. And then she thought about her students. She thought about little Minho, who struggled with math but never gave up. She thought about Sogi, who was afraid of speaking in class but raised her hand anyway. She thought about all the children who faced their fears every single day, because that was what humans did. If her students could be brave, so could she. She closed her eyes and began to recite multiplication tables in her head. She focused on the numbers. She let them fill her mind. She pushed away the sadness and the fear and the despair. When they ended the test, she was still sitting upright, still breathing, still sane. Varn stood in front of her for a long time without speaking. The other Velok scientists whispered to each other in their strange language. Finally, Varn spoke. In all my years of studying species across the galaxy, it said, I have never seen anything like you. Your body is not the strongest. Your senses are not the sharpest. Your intelligence is not the highest. But you do not give up, ever. Hannah smiled weakly. Her body was broken. Her mind was exhausted. But she had done it. She had shown them what humans were. Can I have some water now? She asked. Vaughn made a sound that might have been laughter. Or maybe it was something else. Respect, perhaps. Yes, it said. You can have water. You can have anything you want. They gave her water. They gave her food. They gave her a blanket and a place to rest. And back on Earth, 8 billion people watched the footage and felt something grow in their chests. It was not pride exactly. It was something deeper. It was the knowledge that they were all connected. That the strength Hannah had shown was inside every single one of them. Hannah was not special. She had said so herself. She was just a teacher. But in showing the aliens what one regular human could do, she had shown them what all humans were capable of. And that, perhaps, was the most terrifying thing of all. 2 weeks after Hannah's tests, the Volok made their demand. They did not ask this time. They did not negotiate. A message was broadcast to every screen on Earth at exactly midnight. We have seen what humans are capable of, Fleet Master Torvik announced. We require specimens for study. We require breeding stock for our armies. You will provide us with 10,000 humans. If you refuse, we will take them ourselves. The world's leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to negotiate. The arguments went on for hours. But while the leaders talked, the people acted. Tay was a farmer. He had lived in the same small village his whole life. He grew rice in the fields his father had grown rice in. He was 52 years old. His hands were rough from work. His back ached from years of bending over crops. He was nobody important. When the alien ships appeared over his village, he did not run. The ships were smaller than the ones over the cities. Scout ships, maybe? Or collection ships. They descended slowly, their lights blinking in the darkness. Tay walked out of his house with a farming tool in his hand. It was not a weapon. It was just a hoe, the same one he used every day. But in his hands, it felt like something more. His neighbors came out too. Old Bora, who was 70 and could barely walk without a cane. Young Junho, who was only 19 and had never been in a fight in his life. Minji, who ran the small store at the edge of the village. Her husband Gian, who fixed machines for a living. They stood in a line in front of the village. Farmers and shopkeepers and mechanics and grandmothers. Not soldiers, just people. The alien ship landed. A door opened. 4 Velok soldiers stepped out. They were huge. They were armored. They carried weapons that glowed with strange energy. The lead soldier looked at the humans and made a sound that might have been disgust. Stand aside, it commanded. We are here to collect specimens. Cooperate, and you will not be harmed. Tay did not move. No, he said. The alien seemed confused. It tilted its head to one side. No? No, Tay repeated. You cannot have anyone from this village. Leave now. You are threatening us? The alien sounded almost amused. You are farmers. We are warriors. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. What can you possibly do against us? Tay smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a man who had worked hard his whole life, who had survived droughts and floods and economic crashes, who had buried his parents and raised his children and kept going through everything life threw at him. I am a farmer, he agreed. I have killed pigs and chickens and rats. I have broken the necks of snakes that tried to eat my crops. I have worked until my hands bled and then worked some more. You think I am afraid of you? He raised his hoe. This is my home, he said. These are my people. If you want them, you will have to go through me. The alien raised its weapon. But before it could fire, something unexpected happened. Old Bora stepped forward. She could barely walk, but she stood next to Tay with her cane raised like a club. Through me too, she said. Junho stepped forward with a shovel. And me. Minji stepped forward with a kitchen knife. And me. Gyan stepped forward with a wrench. And me. One by one, every person in the village stepped forward. Men and women, old and young, armed with nothing but farming tools and household items and their own two hands. The alien soldiers looked at each other. Something passed between them. Not fear exactly. Not yet. But uncertainty. You will all die, the lead soldier warned. Maybe, Tay said. But how many of us will you have to kill? How many villages like this are on this planet? How many farmers with hoes and grandmothers with canes? How long do you think your soldiers will last against 8 billion people who refuse to surrender? The alien did not answer. The standoff lasted for 1 hour. Neither side moved. Neither side blinked and then the alien ships left. They rose into the sky and flew away without taking a single person. The villagers stood there watching until the lights disappeared over the horizon. Tay let out a breath he did not know he had been holding. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. But he was alive. They were all alive. Similar scenes played out all over the world. In Brazil, fishermen blocked the landing site with their boats and their bodies. In Nigeria, a whole town linked arms and refused to move. In Canada, a group of indigenous hunters met alien soldiers with bows and arrows and the same message. This is our land. You cannot have it. In Japan, office workers formed barricades out of desks and chairs. In India, farmers surrounded alien ships with tractors. Everywhere the Velok tried to land, they found humans waiting for them. Not armies. Not super soldiers. Just people. Regular people who had decided that they would not be taken. The Velok were not prepared for this. They were prepared for organized resistance. They were prepared for military forces. They were prepared for technology and strategy and tactics. They were not prepared for a grandmother with a cane. They were not prepared for a farmer with a hoe. They were not prepared for 8 billion individuals, each one deciding on their own that they would rather die than surrender. Fleet Master Torvak watched the reports coming in from all over the planet. Failure after failure. His soldiers were not being defeated in battle. They were being stopped by sheer stubborn refusal. They are not fighting like soldiers, one of his officers reported. They are fighting like animals protecting their young. There is no strategy, no organization, just pure aggression and complete disregard for their own safety. They know they cannot win, Torvak said. Why do they not surrender? I do not think they see it that way, sir. They do not seem to calculate odds the way we do. They simply resist. Torvak thought about the videos he had seen. The marathon runners. the firefighters, the mother lifting the car, the teacher in the test chamber. He thought about what Commander Day had said. Humans were stubborn. They did not give up. They kept going even when it made no sense. "Recall all ground forces," Torvald ordered. His officers stared at him. "Sir?" "Recall them, now. We cannot collect specimens without massive casualties. And even if we succeed, what then? We bring these creatures onto our ships? Into our empire? After seeing what they do when pushed?" He turned away from the screen. "I thought they were resources," he said quietly. "I thought we could use them. But I was wrong. They are not resources. They are something else entirely." The recall order went out. All over Earth, alien ships rose into the sky and flew back to the mother fleet. In his village, Tay watched the last ship disappear. His neighbors were cheering. Some were crying. Some were laughing and crying at the same time. "We did it," old Bora said. She was smiling so wide that her wrinkles seemed to disappear. "We actually did it." "No," Tay said, shaking his head. "We did not do anything special. We just did what humans have always done. We refused to give up." He looked around at his neighbors. These were not heroes. They were not warriors. They were just people, but together, standing side by side, refusing to back down. They were something that even an empire feared. They were human. The Velok fleet had been in Earth's orbit for 31 days. On the 32nd day, they began to leave. Yun watched from the observation room in Seoul. She had not slept properly in weeks. Her eyes were tired. Her body was exhausted. But she could not look away from the screens that showed the massive ship slowly turning away from Earth. "Are they really leaving?" someone asked. "It appears so," General Sung replied. His voice was calm, but Yuna could see his hands trembling slightly. "All ships are moving toward the edge of the solar system." A message came through on the main channel. It was Fleet Master Torvak. His face appeared on every screen in the observation room. He looked different now. Older somehow. Tired. "People of Earth," he began. "We came to your world seeking warriors. We believed you had created enhanced soldiers that could serve in our armies. We were wrong." He paused. The silence stretched out for a long moment. "You have no enhanced soldiers," he continued. "What you have is far more dangerous. You have 8 billion beings who do not know how to surrender. 8 billion beings who will fight with farming tools and bare hands. 8 billion beings who run until their hearts explode and lift weights that should crush them and walk into fire to save. Strangers." Torvak's black eyes seemed to look directly at Yuna, at everyone. "Watching, we have conquered 1,000 worlds," he said. "We have defeated armies and empires and civilizations that stretched across galaxies. But we have never encountered anything like humans. You are not stronger than us. You are not faster than us. You are not smarter than us. But you are relentless. You are endless. You are terrifying in ways we did not know were possible." The fleet continued to move away, ship after ship turning and flying toward the stars. "We are leaving," Torvik announced. "Not because we cannot defeat you. Perhaps we could. Perhaps with enough ships and enough soldiers and enough time, we could conquer your planet. But the cost would be too high. For every human we killed, 10 more would rise up. For every city we destroyed, 100 villages would resist. You do not fight like conquered people should fight. You fight like you have already won." He stood up from his command chair. "We will not return. We will mark this system as forbidden. And we will send a warning to every civilization in the galaxy. Earth is not to be touched. Humans are not to be challenged. They look weak. They look primitive. They look easy to conquer. But they are none of these things. His final words would be remembered for generations. Earth has no warriors, Fleetmaster Torvak declared. Earth has 8 billion apex predators who simply choose peace. Do not make them choose war. The transmission ended. The screens went dark. For a moment, no one in the observation room spoke. Then, slowly, people began to react. Some cheered. Some cried. Some just sat down and stared at nothing, too overwhelmed to process what had happened. General Soong walked to the window. The sky was clear now. No more ships blocking the sun. No more shadows falling over the cities. We won, someone said. We actually won. Soong shook his head. We did not win anything. We just showed them what they were dealing with. Is there a difference? The old general smiled. I suppose not. Across the world, people were celebrating. In Tay's village, there was a feast that lasted 3 days. Farmers who had stood against aliens with hoes and shovels sat around tables and told their stories over and over again. In Bizan, Hana returned to her classroom. Her students ran to greet her, hugging her so tightly she could barely breathe. She had become famous. News channels wanted to interview her. Publishers wanted her to write books. But all she wanted was to teach mathematics to her children. Miss Hana, little Minho asked, were you scared when the aliens tested you? She thought about the question. She thought about the heat and the cold and the pain. She thought about the images they had shown her and the despair they had tried to make her feel. Yes, she said honestly. I was very scared. But I did it anyway. Why? She smiled at him. Because that is what humans do. We feel afraid, and we keep going anyway. That is what makes us special. In Seoul, Yuna finally went home. She had not been to her apartment in weeks. Everything looked the same, but everything felt different. She had helped translate for an alien invasion. She had watched her species stand against an empire. She had seen things that would change the world forever. Her mother called. Are you safe now? Her mother asked. Yes, Mom, they are gone. They are not coming back. I knew they would leave, her mother said. I knew we would be okay. How did you know? Her mother laughed. It was a warm sound, full of love. Because we are human. And humans do not give up. We never have. We never will. Yuna looked out her window at the city below. People were walking on the streets. Cars were moving. Children were playing in parks. Life was returning to normal. But nothing was really normal anymore. Everyone knew now what they were capable of. Everyone knew what it meant to be human. They had faced an alien empire with farming tools and kitchen knives. They had stood together 8 billion individuals and refused to back down. They had not won through strength or technology or brilliant strategy. They had won through stubbornness, through determination, through the simple, beautiful, terrifying refusal to surrender. The Velok would spread their warning across the galaxy. Other civilizations would hear about the small blue planet and its dangerous inhabitants. Some would be curious. Some would be afraid. Some would think the warnings were exaggerated, but none would come to conquer. Not after what they had seen. Not after what they had learned. Earth was protected now. Not by armies or weapons or shields. It was protected by its people. By the firefighters who ran into burning buildings and the farmers who stood against aliens with hoes. By the teachers who endured tests that should have killed them and the grandmothers who raised their canes in defiance. By 8 billion apex predators who chose peace. As the last Velok ship disappeared into the darkness of space. A new chapter began for humanity. They were not alone in the universe anymore. They knew now that the galaxy was full of life, full of civilizations, full of dangers and wonders they could barely imagine. But they also knew something else. Something important. Something that would carry them forward into whatever came next. They knew what they were. They were human. And that was enough. In the years that followed, Earth would reach out to the stars. They would meet other species. They would trade and talk and learn. Some would become friends. Some would remain strangers. But none would ever underestimate them again, because the warning had spread. The message had traveled to every corner of the galaxy. Earth has no warriors. Earth has 8 billion apex predators who simply choose peace. And woe to anyone foolish enough to make them choose otherwise. The end.